2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yes, we are live on a Saturday, April 20th. Great to have you with us. 2 hours of infotainment is what we got you offered up. Thanks for being with us. 92.1, 101.7. Maybe you're worldwide with your free download, your iHeartRadio app, and possibly joining us on a live stream. If you don't know, well, now you'll know. We live stream every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, live streaming officially. Good morning, everybody joining us. And on YouTube as well, that's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, home of a ton of informational chunk videos and a live stream every Saturday morning. Good morning to you as well. You got a toll-free number? Would you like to be a part of the program with your questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate? Hit us up, 877-927-6969. The first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy. What's up, my brother from another mother?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen. Always a pleasure to be with you on a Saturday.
That's what I'm talking about. Good to see you, my friend. I'm your boy, Johnny C., your old buddy, your pal, your air traffic control.
Happy 420, buddy.
Hey, happy 420 to you as well. April 20th, national holiday for some. Your starting lineup on a Saturday. The very important people, like Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Ross, how are you, dude? Uh-oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Save that thought. How are you, dude?
Good? No?
Oh, he is.
All right.
Yeah, nice.
Am I there?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. All right. Doing well. Good to see everybody.
When I can only hear you in the room, I'm like, no, nobody else can hear you.
There's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, if I don't hear you in the headphones, it's an issue.
See, I go both ways, so.
Oh, well.
Nice. Good to know.
Man,
what I'm talking
I did
about.
not mean to
Happy 420.
tell everybody that, but
Don't leave at
Now you know.
11 o'clock.
now you know.
Please.
I'm out there. Here we go.
Hey, Mike, don't scoot any closer. He's good. You're good right there.
Yeah.
Mike Rauch. the
You mean
mortgage-
towards away? I'm not scared.
No, not scared at
Yeah, I'm
all.
not scared.
I've never seen you scared. There's Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy
Yeah.
from the mortgage firm. He steps into any situation with like power and confidence.
Yeah, I can't say that I go both ways, but I don't have a problem with it
No,
at all.
no issue.
Yeah. So
You've been
Ross,
You've been
nice to meet you finally.
You've been really.
Closet's open.
There's a whole new light on Ross.
I thought we were going to tease that big announcement. But accidentally-
And it's huge.
Why sit on it when you can just throw it right out?
that's what I was saying.
Have you ever been hit on by a man, Mike?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, listen,
some people
you walk
get
around
upset.
life with this face.
Yeah, well,
you know.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for me, it's the body.
Daily.
You're a certain type.
Daily.
Yeah, exactly. And some people like bears. I
Grizzly.
guess. Yes. Some people I have friends that kind of get really upset about it. I'm like, you should be thrilled that somebody's attracted to you and willing to actually step
Yeah.
into your zone and come onto you like no denying. And you got to graciously be like, oh, I'm totally not interested, but thank you. You make me feel like $1 million because
I think
I'm desirable to somebody.
some people worried that their response, is like they might like it kind of thing, right?
People.
It's like I had a buddy, his dad used to joke that he would, go for he would never want to go for his annual, when you get to a certain age as a man, you have to
Yeah.
go. And he's like, yeah, what if I like it? Like it might change my whole world.
Well, then,
I'm not ready for that type of change at this stage
if
of my
you,
life.
if you like
know?
it, you can save the trip to the doctors.
Big commitment.
And that copay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the other very important people in here. Our fearless leader, who's right now going,
What is this real estate?
This
Why
is,
do I pay these
kind of.
people?
wondering if I should have Johnny in here again, ever again.
I don't think he was even listening. Jim, can you recap the first couple
Nah,
minutes of the conversation?
I am going to need your mic closer. There's my man. He's 12
I was not listening.
12 plus years now. It's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Runs a top producing Keller Williams team, Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team, and my guy Jimmy D. There's Jim DePola. How you be, Jimmy D?
Hey, I think we came up with our new commercial, Florida Talk radio show. Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to us.
Don't listen.
Don't listen to us, guys.
Do what the host does. Don't listen to the show.
Don't listen.
Hey, everybody. Happy South Florida.
Hey, happy South Florida.
Camera system's getting a little better every week. We'll see what happens. We're getting there. So anybody, anybody looking to catch us after the regular show on terrestrial radio, you could always catch us on Facebook and YouTube. And we are there every single week.
I had a buddy of mine ask, Mike, where can I listen to your podcast? And I usually don't get asked that way, but I just looked it up. I just typed in on the Google machine, Florida Talk Real Estate Podcast, and it came up, and iHeart has every single podcast on a website that you can just hit. You don't even have to go through like a podcast app or whatever. I'm sure you could, but you just type that in and they're all there.
What if you Bing it? Do you think you get the same results?
Yeah, probably. I don't know what rank it is.
I hope so.
Yeah, but
it's pretty cool. So we're getting better and better with this stuff. Just bear with us. It's going to turn in good. I had another customer that I'm going to be going out with Jason today, and we're going to be going up looking for a house for his mom in Port St. Lucie, and he was asking for the terrestrial radio call numbers, so 92.1 and 101.7.
Yeah, if you're up in Port St. Lucie, it might probably
It's
be
kind of in
101.7.
between. It's gonna be
92.1
closer.
might be tough.
Yeah, 101.7 is probably going to be your better of the two numbers
Yeah.
up there.
A free download iHeartRadio app.
Yep,
You can take
it's
us everywhere.
free, and it's the number one podcast app in the country. I'm hearing. Everybody thinks Spotify and all that stuff. And
Yeah, I would imagine so, because there's just like everything you can imagine.
it's crazy.
it's
There's-
also free, isn't it?
Yes.
yeah. Tell you, it's not free to be on it though. It's expensive to get on the iHeartRadio app. So yeah, it can be expensive. So hey, I wanted just to do a couple little things. We're gonna have our 22nd Florida state state anniversary. We're gonna have our 22nd state anniversary. We just signed in. It was for the Tuskegee Airmen, and I thought that was interesting that it's a state holiday.
Huh.
So I don't even, let's see, on April 11th, the governor signed the 22nd state holiday into law, the Tuskegee Airmen Commemoration Day. What I don't see is what day it's going to be. Do you think it's going to be April 11th?
I don't know how that works.
I don't know how
That's
that
so
works
funny
either.
because it doesn't say what the date's going to be. It says on April 11th he signed the state holiday, but it doesn't. I'm not assuming that means that's the state holiday is April 11th. But someday in the year, next year, we're going to be celebrating the Tuskegee Airmen. I thought that was kind of interesting. Apparently, some of these group of aviators were from Florida. They were trained in Alabama during World War II. They were the first. I don't even know how to describe it. What it would be, the first black air flight crew? Would that be the right way to describe the Tuskegee Airmen?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think that's. Oh, it says first black military aviators.
Fourth
Okay.
Thursday of March in
Fourth.
Florida.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
according to the old Google machine.
Oh, thank you. It didn't even mention that in the article. Thank you, Housey Democrat. But anyway, congratulations on that holiday. I think that's kind of interesting. I'm always a history buff, so that's always a little fascinating to me. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick is what kind of luck do you have to have where a piece of the space station comes tearing through your house?
Go play the lottery.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, probably never win the lottery because you used up your luck on that.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like, darn it, this is
Right.
what I get.
This is what I got.
I get the hole in the house.
How
right?
much is a
That's what I
piece of
get.
the space station worth, though? Lottery numbers?
Only if it's traveled through like our atmosphere, I think it's worth a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Big time. Big time.
Okay. Is that
Yeah,
better?
Much better.
Okay,
yeah.
thank
You're talking over it, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
get it. Okay. Thank you, Johnny. A 1.6 pound piece of metal from the space station landed in this guy's house in Naples. Now, it was a 2-story house. The piece of metal went all the way through the roof, through the floor of the second story into the foundation of the first story, which I thought was kind of wild. Thank God nobody got hurt. The house was in Naples. It took them a little while to figure out that it actually came from the space station, but NASA analyzed everything and said, "Yep, that's what it is." Now, what
That's
I'm
ours.
wondering is if a
That's
1.5 pound piece of metal actually made it through the atmosphere, because it's burning up.
Yeah.
I wonder how big that piece was when it started, before it started
Yeah.
burning up and
Yeah,
landed
so
down
I thought
here.
I saw a picture of like they showed the side by side. They showed the original piece and then the one
Oh,
that came through,
I
and
didn't see
it
that.
started as like a, probably a foot long cylinder, probably maybe like
Oh, yeah.
6 inches diameter,
I'm seeing that now, Mike. Thank
right?
you.
Like a big shaft, and then the burnt up one was rounded off and charred and scorched.
Yeah, it almost looks a little bit like what
It's
you
like a
would see
pin.
on a tuna tower or something like the same kind of metal on a tuna tower or something for a boat, so it's
A tuna tower?
Yeah, like my brother-in-law used to
I've
be
never
a
had.
welder
I had
for
that at a
boats.
restaurant once. I think. Yeah, tuna tower.
They call them the tuna
of
tower, the
tuna.
fisher towers, the things that they put up
It looks
on
like
the boat.
to me, it looks like a big pin, like that you would put in a like when you hook up an excavator's, the shovel on the excavator, and they have a pin to like kind of put it in place, something like that.
It looks like that.
Yeah,
You're watching too much Gold Rush.
Yep. I did watch some of that yesterday.
I like Gold
That's a
Rush.
good
I'm
show,
a big.
yeah.
I like Gold Rush too. I didn't watch this season. I'm catching up right now.
I think it was a good one.
Yeah, I'm catching up. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. What's the luck of a piece of the space station crashing into your roof? It's like,
Well, the luck of it not hitting you in the house. I mean,
yeah,
or
that's
doing
the lucky
something
part,
that
yeah.
it caused the house to injure you as well.
yeah. What kind of insurance do you have for that, Ross? I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that. I wasn't even asking. So you could
That
just get
covered?
regular insurance for that, right?
Yeah.
So that wouldn't. What do you think that would be covered under? What I mean is like it just damage to your property, like a fire or something like that.
It depends on if you got that a la carte insurance, right? Did you get the coverage for space debris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have space debris. Sorry, you're not covered.
Yeah, this one everyone's like, nah, I don't need
Yeah,
this
we had the
debris.
space debris
I don't need the
exclusion.
space-
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be any different than like, something from somebody's backyard getting whipped up in the wind and smashing into your house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's under all other perils, not under wind, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. So
Yes,
it'll be
Wild
interesting.
stuff.
It's crazy.
It'll be interesting to see what'll happen. A couple of shout outs. Wanted to shout out to Joe and April. Mike, you helped close on that deal, right? If I'm not mistaken. We closed yesterday, right? So
Closed Thursday.
Yeah, Joe and April, congratulations on the closing. No, they closed yesterday. They were supposed to close Thursday. They closed yesterday.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure they closed yesterday.
Well, cheers to that.
Yeah, sorry.
Who do you
and
guys
April-
trust more, my memory or
Yeah.
Jim's memory?
Well, I want to say thank you. Probably Mike's. I wanted to say thank you to Joe and April for trusting us once again to help them. We helped to sell their house in Lake Clark Shores area about 6 months ago. Helped them find a rental property while they were looking for a new house.
Nice.
They weren't sure where they wanted to live. Found out where they wanted to live. They're moving into the new house. They closed on Friday or Thursday, depending on what Mike or I say.
They closed. Most importantly,
But they
They
closed.
closed.
yes.
They were really, really happy. I got in a little bit of trouble in this deal. I got a complaint with one of the brokers. They're renting out a property and they needed to break the lease. So we called up a lawyer that we know. I think everybody on the show knows who I called. And then we also talked to our broker. And what we wanted to do was find a new tenant to replace their rental lease when they were moving out. Now, we weren't trying to do what was called a sublet, because a sublet's where you have the lease under your name and then you let somebody else rent it out underneath you without the landlord's involvement.
Right.
We weren't trying to do that because there was no sublease in this contract. Well, all we were trying to do is help April and Joel find somebody to replace, go back to the landlord, say, hey, look, we have to leave early. Here's a brand new 12-month contract with tenant screening already done. If you take these, all we're asking you to do is let us back out of our contract, go on a year contract with this person. Well, we didn't put it on the MLS or anything because we don't control the property. It isn't our property to put out there. But we did put it on social media for the tenants, Joe and April. And somehow the broker of the property found out that we put it out there, and they called up and ripped us a new one. And we were like, well, we already talked to a real estate lawyer about this, and we talked to our broker. We felt we were within our boundaries. We're not trying to hurt you at all. We're trying to help you facilitate that you don't lose any money, in hopes that you will not charge too many fees for breaking the lease, because we're making you whole. Now, what I found out in that process was, and then my broker got involved to turn into this big thing. But what I found out in this process, and this is something really good to know if you're a tenant, landlords have a legal responsibility to reduce damages for tenants if at all possible. Didn't know that, right? So if you break the lease, and I was told through the law office of Paola Krasker, if the tenants are breaking the lease and they come to the landlord with a brand new tenant that will meet the criteria that they had for the original lease. And the landlord, for whatever reason, says they're not going to take that tenant and then charges you penalties for breaking the lease. You could actually have damages because the landlord could have been made whole and chose not to and wanted to take punishment out of you by, maybe
extracting whatever the max penalties were.
Yeah. And I didn't know that. And according to state law, landlords have an obligation to reduce those costs if possible for the tenant. Yeah.
The if possible part is a little gray, isn't it? Because what if they don't like the tenant that you're offering up? The new, that's you can be like, nope, I'm not putting them in my house.
That's right.
You're still in a bad position.
Like we hand select every tenant.
Yeah,
they go through a rigorous process, right?
Like that could be true, but what we were going to do, and it's a excellent point that you're making, Johnny. No guarantee that we were going to win, but if we showed that the people met all the criteria that we met to get into that place,
then
we had the right credit score, there was no bad background, they were bringing together all the money, they had the right income and employment and everything else. And then they tell you have a little bit of a case at that point, Paul was saying, because now you showed that you did everything
you tried
to reduce the damages.
Is the agent they feel like you're stepping on their toes as far as finding new tenants because potentially there's income for them there.
That's
is that right?
What they got so mad about. The broker didn't call me. It was the agent that called, and she must have found out that we were out there promoting on social media, and she wanted her commission. She's like, we'll find you a tenant, right? But then she says, and let me tell you, this brokerage, I'm not going to mention the name or anything, they were a mess. Okay, they were freaking mess the whole time we were working with them.
Well, yeah, so now this agent's worried about a commission for a little rental property. You know what I'm saying? So
when you're an agent when you're advertising and then finding tenants and you get paid when the tenants go in, is that like a multi-year contract or is it just the one and done thing? So did she have a contract with the owners to lease the property?
The brokerage also has a property management company. The property management company had a
long-term
relationship with the landlord, which is okay. And we weren't trying to hurt anybody, but her reaction to me explaining why we were doing what we were doing and that I wasn't asking for a commission. I wasn't going to go to them with the tenant and say, hey, here's the tenant, give me half a month's rent or whatever, because that's what pretty much a commission is for the renter side of the...
Maybe just a small referral fee?
I wasn't going to get anything. I just wanted to help April and Joe out and try to reduce damages for them, right?
That was your pure motivation.
Yeah. So when I said I wasn't looking for a commission or anything, her head was about to explode. She's like,
what?
Like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm trying to help people.
That's what I'm just trying to help.
I'm just trying to help. Yep. That's all I'm trying to do.
They made this go smooth.
They did close yesterday, by the way. So I was wrong.
Yeah.
I had my dates wrong.
Yeah.
So for everybody that selected Jimmy D in the memory.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
The 2 out of the 100.
Sorry, guys.
The 2% of the 100. Ha ha. Everybody else lost. Ha. So anyway, I just thought that was very interesting. And I learned a little something in that process about what landlords' responsibilities are to tenants. We are getting a lot more phone calls in the last couple of weeks with renters complaining about their landlords for different reasons. So I'm wondering if this is turning into a trend. And to me, that might be a sign, not enough. It's totally anecdotal right now, but it might be a sign that we were having a lot of problems when the rents were going up so high. People were going nuts. I thought you were going to do that prompt, Jimmy, for sure. The rents are too damn high. The rents are too damn high.
Are you saying it's a new phenomenon that renters are complaining about landlords?
No, it just seems like what I'm saying is while the rents were going up super high a little while ago, there was a lot of talk about I was getting more calls from renters than ever before because the rates were so high, the rent was so high. And they were trying to figure out different options and things like that. Now it's more complaints about either not being able to make their payment on time or the landlord isn't doing something correctly and more of those kind of complaints. It'll be interesting to see what's going on with that. We have a lot of news this week. The monthly market report came out for South Florida, the Realtors Association of the Palm Beaches. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
OMG?
We hit a record. record for sales price, median sales price.
Nice again.
And you cannot believe the year-over-year appreciation in Palm Beach County. It is crazy.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing,
No,
but
it
it's
is what it is.
it's surprising. I was like, wow, when I saw that. I don't do the wow. too
Jeez, that
much.
means we're double digits again.
Oh my gosh, it's not all these people all these people that have been trying to gauge what's going to happen in the market.
Well, so with that appreciation based on what we've had in the last year, if what everybody's hoping for, and I don't want to say everybody, but most people are hoping for, we get a bunch of down push on the rates, and everybody's hoping we get fives again.
Happening.
All the we're going to see even more value because everybody's going to jump in and overpay again. It's going to be wild town. Again, I don't think that scenario is going to happen, but wow, it happens.
It's yeah, and I'm curious what the number is going to be, Jim. Like
Me
how
too.
you're saying,
It's
wow,
very high compared to before.
I think I'm going to be surprised.
I mean, I looked at it. I actually had to do a double take. I'm like, am I picking is this the most recent report? Is this a report from?
Wow, that's a great tease.
Yeah.
Are we isolated? Like Palm Beach County really stand out?
Actually, it did. Even
Yeah?
compared to the other 4 counties that we're going to talk about, we were still head and shoulders above in price point. It was really surprising. Another thing that happened is inventory is changing for the first time. We've had super low inventory for a very long time. That seems to be changing, which actually would be good news for buyers.
Great news.
But it would be the opposite of record median sales price.
Yeah.
Well,
counterintuitive.
Isn't that weird?
It
It
is.
is. It's
No
totally
way.
intuitive. We have higher prices and bigger inventory, right? We're defying
Higher
gravity.
rates, higher inventory, higher insurance,
Higher
and higher
interest.
prices.
Yeah,
Wow,
I know. Is
wow.
that crazy?
How's that happening?
Yeah, it's just
Florida.
yeah. I mean, it's just totally crazy what we're experiencing right now. So we're gonna figure that out. Wanted to give a shout out to a guy I know named Ross for allowing us to sell his property. Do you mind if I say that? We got a 2-2 in Juno Beach. Really, really nice unit in a really, really great community. Man, I feel like that community is a slice of the Florida lifestyle.
It's a hidden gem.
It is. It really is a
Like,
hidden gem.
You don't understand until you actually go through those gates and how
Mhm.
nice it is in there.
It's so nice. And the building that we're on, it's 500 Uno Lago, and I think there's a lake in the middle, and there's a ring of 4-story buildings around it, right? And everybody's got a lake view.
Beautiful.
The unit that we're selling has a really nice view of the lake and the clubhouse and the pool, which is really, really nice. There's 2 heated pools in the community, a clubhouse, fitness center,
Sweet.
hot tubs, all that kind of stuff.
Break out the binocs.
Yeah.
HOA is about average for that area. The condo association fees about average for that area. Another good thing about this particular building and home condo association is they've already dealt with the concrete restoration and all that. They just put on a new roof in 2022, so all that's taken care of. So I don't think they're going to have any shockers in that community. So if you buy there, also what's good about it is after the first year you can rent it out. So if you want to turn this into a little bit of a rental property, you can. After the first year, you can rent it with minimum leases of 3 months at a time, no more than 3 a year, which is probably plenty for most people. We might actually be talking to the basketball player that we're going to be looking for a house for, because that might be perfect for him. So we're going to be talking to him.
Excellent.
And we have it. And the other thing is this 2-2 condo is priced really well. It's $445,000. So in that area, that's a very good price. So
Now, here's the question: as the listing agent, have you done your research to know what types of offers you can accept?
actually, I have not yet. So I don't know if we can do the less than 25% down.
Right.
Right, we have
Or
to
any
check.
conventional at all. You don't even know that.
We
Or
can do
FHA or
conventional in
VA.
that building for sure.
For sure.
I don't know about VA and FHA, but conventional, I'm pretty sure.
It's a good exercise. We can
Yeah.
do this live on air.
There,
Great exercise.
the
What
reason why we're
options
waiting
does-
is
Well, I mean-
we need the year-end financials. We have the budget for 2024, but we don't have the 2023 year-end.
That's why you're waiting?
That's why. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's what we're trying to figure out. No?
No.
Well, we've been waiting for the property manager to give us the information.
Some of that is Some of that I could tell you if you just give me the address
Mhm.
and I have my computer, which I brought it. We could do this live on air. I could tell you whether you could do FHA, VA, and I could tell you if you can't do conventional. I could do that within 5 minutes.
Let's do it during the break, and then we'll go back on it. Okay.
Boom.
Is that it?
You.
Sure.
Okay.
It's good you have resources like this, Jim. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying?
nice
to be
to
able to
have it,
reach
right?
out to a pros pro. If you want that kind of access, you can too. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. It's your one-stop real estate shop. This is a team of pros. You get them all at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
We had a house that was supposed to close. It's a 55 and over community. If you're a person that's looking for a 55 and over community that's affordable in Palm Beach County, I think I have a unit for you. Our unit went under contract. It's in Villas of the Willows. It's Villas of the Willows or something like that. It's
interesting.
in Lake Worth. It's a villa. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit. It also has a lake view. It's 55 and over. The roof was just put on in 2021 or 2022. It's got a newer AC. The inside is a little bit dated. Definitely need to replace the carpeting right away. But everything else in the house, while it's original, is in excellent condition, and you don't have to do a lot to move in.
Nice.
$240,000 with a super low HOA. That's a very good deal. We had that under contract in like 4 days when we put it on the market. Now listen to this. We were supposed to close about a week ago, and we got a call from the agent saying, can you give us another 10 days to close? They didn't tell us why. I was on the road. We decided to go ahead. The owner said, okay. Then they called us earlier this week and said, we can't close it all now.
Mm.
And we were like, what? And they said, well, this is what happened. Your buyers, the buyers that are buying your property, Jim, they were selling a property. And the buyers for their property, the wife was very ill and she passed. The husband, that's what happened like 10 days earlier. The husband decided to move forward with the sale, and then he passed. So both buyers passed. So there was
Before they closed.
Before they closed, there was nobody to close.
Wow.
So then their deal fell apart, which means they needed the money from that sale to buy our house. So our deal died.
Man.
Yeah.
So
That's
you know
rough.
what? I have not run into that before.
Never.
So the buyers passed.
Both of them.
Both.
What I found interesting is one pass, that's happened to me before, and then usually the buyer just pulls out and just says, hey, I got
too much
a
going
jet.
on. Yeah.
Going to Vegas.
But that isn't what happened. The husband decided they were going to move forward. Then he wasn't ill and nobody expected it, and then he passed.
Oh my goodness.
Now here's the other bad thing.
Does the estate have to deal with an active contract?
Oh,
That's a
I
weird
don't know. That's
question.
a very good. Well, this is what happened is because they already had the loan approval, the contract was hard, meaning that the buyer
earnest
couldn't
money.
get out. So, and the buyer never gave us the addendum saying that they needed to sell their house to buy our house. So they had no contingencies. So we were able to keep the escrow deposit, which my seller really needed, because now she has her own personal issues, and now she has to carry that property again while we're trying to sell it. So the whole thing was pretty rough. But here's a couple of teachable lessons about this from the buyer side. That agent didn't have any idea that she needed to write a contingency that she needed to sell the house to buy the house. The mortgage broker didn't tell her to put it in the contract. She was a brand new agent, didn't know, right? So then when she told us she couldn't close, and we explained to her that the contract is hard, she goes, no, we're just going to get a letter from the loan officer stating that they can't get the loan, right? And I said, yeah, but we already had the loan approval. The new agent had no idea what I was talking about. She actually thought that we were incorrect. I didn't beat her up about it or anything. She went back to her broker, and the broker gave her the bad news.
The thing is, you got to learn that at some point. And I think we all learn that, because common sense would say, well, if I got to get a loan and I can't get my loan, well, obviously I can't proceed. Right. But the contract says you have a period of time to get your loan approved. And once that date comes and goes, you're no longer protected. Right. Your ability to close is no longer contingent on your ability to get a loan. So you have X number of days to get your loan. After that, If you don't cancel and we don't cancel, or you get your loan approved and then you otherwise can't close, that's when that earnest money is in dispute. There's going to be a fight over it.
Thank God I know I'm the listing agent. I probably shouldn't be saying this way, but in a way, I'm thanking the heavens that the escrow deposit wasn't like
huge.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge thing. I mean, it was still a significant amount of money. Nobody would want to lose it, but it wasn't going to probably be make or break for anybody.
So this wasn't the deposit from the people who passed away. It was a deposit from the sellers who's
from
their
buyer.
buyers. Okay.
Right.
I was going to say, if you kept the estate's earnest money deposit, I don't know how I feel about that.
That would be weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope nobody perceived it that way.
Yeah.
No,
When you were saying it, I was like, wait a second. These people passed.
Oh, that's why you made that face. I was
Yeah,
wondering why
I
you
was
made
like,
that
wait a
face.
second.
I'm like, well, this is a normal part of the process. I didn't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and let me tell you, my seller struggled over it.
Sure.
She didn't just go, yay, won the lottery or something. She was like, she's a very caring person herself. She's gone through a lot. She's gone through a lot of stuff, which is why she's selling it.
Yeah, I guess the lesson for the buyer's agents out there is, number one, you have to be aware of the financing contingency and kind of how much time you need. And also, when you're extending close dates, if there's a problem with your loan approval, you should also be extending your loan approval date.
And
right? Those two things should happen at the same time, generally.
And what we did when we extended it for the 10 days or whatever, we always write in the addendum, such and such to the contract is going to change. All other terms of the contract remain the same.
Yeah.
Now, if we didn't necessarily do that,
maybe
they could argue that the approval was extended too with the loan. They might have been able to argue that.
They could argue that.
Yeah, I don't know if they would have won, but anyway, it's just a tragic thing that happened, and I feel very sorry for all the parties involved, but at the same time, you have to make sure that your agent knows what they're doing, and making sure they understand contracts and that they're protecting you on every level. And this agent did not do anything on purpose. It was just matter of circumstances, but because she didn't know how to dot her I's and cross her T's, and then this unusual thing popped up that nobody could have predicted.
Yeah, too many unknown.
Yeah.
Hey, unknown unknowns.
I have
I don't know. They're not unknown unknowns. So those are known unknowns.
Those are known unknowns. Well, Jimmy knows.
Yeah, you should know.
You should know that there's dates on there, relevant dates. Now, Jim, I don't know if you learned that in real estate school, or you learn it in like voluntary classes at your brokerage or something. But who teaches you, other than the hard way,
let me
about
tell you something.
The contingencies?
We'll wrap up on this and we'll take the break after this. But you're right, Mike. The one thing that the most surprising thing about me when I got my real estate license, when I went over to get the exam, they don't teach you contracts. They teach you very, very little about contracts. All they do is say, go to your broker and let your broker teach you about contracts.
Okay.
That's pretty much. So it's surprising. You think that contracts would be such a big part of your real estate license, getting education, right?
Well, I know it at your group, right? At Innovations, you've had was it Krasker come in several times and do contract classes
twice a month.
Yeah, it's constant. Hey, just make sure you guys know this.
Yeah,
he was here last week teaching us short sales.
There you
right?
go.
Yeah.
The required education for mortgage loan originators is probably similar to real estate agents in that they teach you a lot about the law, right? And it's the ethical and legal requirements, and which part of the code is it Reg Z, is it Reg
Ours is Chapter 475.
Yeah, exactly. And it's you definitely don't learn how to do the job in your licensing education, even in the continuing education. Yeah. Right. So you got to learn somewhere. You also have to be willing to learn.
Yeah. You have to be out there and go out there and educate yourself. And we're very much about that on our team, as you know, Johnny.
Oh, constantly.
We're always in classes all the time. Yep. And even the basic classes. I was in a beginner 101, how to take a listing. And the teacher was like, "You're here?" And I'm like, hey, it's, you always learn something, and I had the time. So I went ahead and did it. Let's go ahead and take a break, because my headphones are driving me crazy right now. I can't hear anything.
Florida Talk
And,
Real Estate is .com. If you are really paying attention to this first half hour, there's a lesson, and it's you got to go to people that are really good at what they do. Great, if possible. And I have a resource for people that are great at what they do. Pros. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Anything that touches the world of real estate, I got a professional to handle your need and so much more. The one-stop real estate shop. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You'll find the hotline, 888-973-7828. You can call that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, answered by a live body. And you'll find that hotline at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Today's included. It's Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
We'll be your friend. Follow us at Real Radio 92.1 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
From the Gordon & Partners Weather Center. Have you been injured in a motor vehicle accident? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
Sunny skies throughout the rest of the day today as we continue to see temperatures on the rise. We'll be in the low to mid 80s by mid-afternoon, and then we'll top out in the upper 80s and low 90s depending on where you are and how strong the sea breeze is wherever you are. We do have a weak front on the way, but as for right now, until then, we have similar temperatures to finish out your weekend.
This report is sponsored by try the new limited edition Orange Dreamsicle Frosty at Wendy's. Try the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty at Wendy's. It's like walking down recent memory lane. To have Orange Dreamsicle Frosty in our timeline is truly something special, and we shouldn't let the moment pass us by. And be quick, it's only available for a limited time.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because FloridaTalkRealEstate.com has you covered. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
I'll give it to you again, 877-927-6969. If you'd like to be a part of the program, you're more than welcome to dial in. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember you have access to the entire team at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Johnny C., well, that's me. Timothy's our producer extraordinaire. What's up, dude?
Hello, and good morning.
Good morning. We got Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. What's up, Ross?
You know that's right.
Good to see you, my friend.
You too.
And, of course, Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Hello, my friend.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Hi.
Good morning.
Happy April 20th. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, that works. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife, for 12 years before we started dating, from the time I met her to the time we started dating, she would text me every year on my birthday and on April 20th for some reason.
Yeah, really?
It's weird. Happy April 20th. Oh,
That's-
thanks.
When did that start?
An
as a thing?
early Earth Day celebration, I suppose.
Could
Yeah.
be.
You know,
Yeah,
just getting a jump on Earth Day.
Exactly. You're asking the origination of 420? Is that where you're going, Mike? I'm assuming. From what I know, that legend started in Santa Fe, California, Ross.
Where's Santa Fe?
Santa Fe is in the Bay Area. It's actually one of our rival high schools at the school I went to.
Okay. What
And-
was their mascot?
They're the Bulldogs,
Okay. What were you?
the Hornets.
Ooh, sting them.
We tried. The legend of 420, there was a group at Santa Fe High. They called themselves the Waldos. And you can look this up. I'm sure it's all over Wikipedia and everything else. And they would coin the time 420 to go and smoke the cannabis, the reefer, the
devil's lettuce.
tobacco, devil's
Devil's
lettuce,
lettuce.
That's
I
it.
have always
Yes.
loved
the
that
grass,
saying.
all that stuff. And then it just kind of grew into a Bay Area phenomenon, a California phenomenon, and now it's just not now. It has been for quite some time, but global.
Yeah, I recall that term years ago.
Yes,
I've heard it before.
and there's all kinds of ridiculous things that people have come up with over the years. Oh, it's a
Police call
police
number.
call, or there's that many chemicals, and none of it's true.
The fine, then the ticket. Like they'd write out a
Yeah.
ticket, and it was
None of that
broke
is
the
accurate.
420 code or something.
All a bunch of
All
junk.
kinds of different ones.
Yeah, people that believe if
So it's the time of the day. That's where.
there was their code for we're gonna go smoke.
Okay.
And then it kind of latched onto the time, and then it latched onto the day, and then it just became
Gotcha.
kind of cultural for the
Right.
cannabis really consumers.
So you're only supposed to smoke on one day?
That's it. You get the one day,
That's it.
You
and then
consume
with
one day?
one
Okay.
time of the
Okay.
day. Well, it's actually 2 times of the day,
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
every
okay,
day.
yeah, so twice a year.
Twice a
Have-
day, and then once a year.
Have you read much up about the possible referendum on Florida's for the ballot this year for recreational?
Oh yeah, I follow it pretty mightily. Vote
Okay.
yes on 3, by the way.
So okay, so it's out there. It's going to be number 3. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, and that would be a yes vote. on
Okay.
3.
President make it like number 4, paragraph 20.
Oof! Don't do that to me.
You know.
I'm just
That
locked
would
in
be
on
too
yes
obvious.
on 3.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, don't mix it up on me.
Is it? It's written well to
That is
understand.
not
It's not one of those like double negatives that they throw in there to try to make you think that you're voting for something
Like
and you're
last
not.
time?
Right?
Yeah, like
with
last
the
time?
gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, no. This one, pretty much,
pretty
yeah, pretty much.
straightforward. Good.
But you're gonna see a ton of advertising. Obviously, there's gonna
Both
be a lot of
ways, yep,
education.
sure.
Yeah, because there's a lot of fooey that's being thrown out for the
Yeah.
people that don't like it.
Sure.
But
There's always going to be 2 sides to it. So.
well, if you like freedom, I mean, here's the brass tacks. If you like freedom, you like being free. I don't know why you're voting no on this.
Yeah.
Because this is ridiculous that we're still in 2024
yeah, let it rip.
fighting for something like that. But you
Yeah.
can go buy, a bottle of whiskey, no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Go home, beat your wife.
I'm glad it finally got on
Yeah.
the ballot too, because that's the only way it's going to get passed in the state. So
That's it.
it's
Absolutely.
good to see.
Enough of the 420 chatter. Let's say hello to Jimmy D. That's our fearless leader. He runs the
Hey.
top producing Keller Williams team, Keller Williams Innovations, the Florida Home Pros team. There's Jim DePola.
Hey, thank you, Johnny. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Good. Sorry, we're having a little computer technological problems. So sorry about that, Facebook and YouTube. Okay, wanted to talk a little bit. First, let's start off before we talk about the monthly market report, Johnny. We didn't really get to talk about the economic report for inflation and everything else that came out the week before last. And I wanted to do that to set the foundation for what we're going to talk about with the market. So what we saw was a week and a half ago was we had two reports that came out that were way different than what we expected. And what we found out first was the employment or jobs report. I'm right here.
Yeah, I know, but you're over it.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so the jobs report. I'm having a bad day. The jobs report came out, and they were expecting about 200,000 jobs for that month, and it came out to 300,000 jobs, which is a 50% increase of what they were expecting to happen. So that wasn't. While that's always good that people are employed, and that's a really good thing for the inflation purposes, that's not a really good sign for the economists because they know that the economy is going to stay strong, which is what they're trying to slow down. Then the second thing that happened was that the inflation rate spiked. So while our inflation rate is still low compared to about a year and a half ago, it was slowing down. And then all of a sudden, last month's report seemed to increase the inflation rate.
Well, I mean, they were saying it was slowing down. I never saw anything that indicated it, but they were telling us the numbers were coming down.
Well, just to be fair on that side, because I know I know that a lot of the stuff we do agree with, but sometimes the reports and stuff that come out, I'm a little more believable about the government reports that come out than you are, let's say. Okay.
Yeah, just because based on normal consumption, you're like, just don't feel it.
Well, my thing is the way I look at it, if you're using that as the benchmark, if we started off with that benchmark and the benchmark started changing over time, whether the benchmark's exact about is it 3.8% inflation or 3.6% inflation, you're using the same benchmark. So it's showing you which way that, just kind of like the Freddie Mac report for the interest rates. It's showing you where we are at that moment. Are we going up? Are we going down? Are we staying flat? And what we were showing is that we were going down. Then we started going flat. Last month, it looked like we went up. That wasn't good because the Fed's biting at the bit, supposedly, to cut the rates. And they can't cut the rates if the inflation's going up. So all these people that are waiting for these interest rates to go down, that's what everybody's waiting for. Hey, Mike, what do you say? I can't read that.
Florida Talk Real Estate is the .com, your one-stop real estate
Sorry about that. Yeah, so the idea that of all these people trying to predict what's going to happen in the economy, it's almost an impossible endeavor right now to see what's really going on. Let me just give you the monthly market reports of where we are today. I could find my glasses. Oh my gosh, what's going on today? Oh my God.
Got to be able to see.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it would help. And I just broke my glasses.
Oh,
Great.
no.
Yeah, because that's the way it's working today. Okay. Okay, so of the 5 counties that I looked at, listen, I'm just going to read the median sales price increase from last month to a year ago last month. Okay. That's called the year-over-year median sales price difference. So in Miami-Dade County, we had a median sales price increase. Wow. I didn't even see this. I thought Palm Beach County was the biggest. It was Dade County. Dade County had a 14% year-over-year increase in median sales price in March. In Martin County, it was negative 2.4%. I'm going to explain that. That doesn't mean that Martin County's kind of a weird animal. St. Lucie County, which has always had really good appreciation because the prices in Martin County are cheaper. It had 4% appreciation year over year. Palm Beach County had 11.3%, and Broward County had 7.4% year over year. Okay. Now,
St. Lucie was in like the kind of normal expected appreciation year.
Martin County was very low, and the reason why that is Martin County, they only had 188 sales in the whole county.
Right.
So you have you have 2 or 3 really super big multi-million-dollar sales, and it skews all the numbers in one way. Or you don't have those sales, it can skew the numbers down. That's why we had the negative 2.4%. But this Dade County and county price of 14% year over year and 11.3% year over year, that's strong.
Yeah.
Super strong.
This is based on sales for the
median sales price. So median sales price means in that month, half the homes sold for less, half the homes sold for more. Okay. Palm Beach County, we hit a new high for median sales price of $640,000.
That's crazy.
A year ago, we were at 575. Okay. Now, this is at the same time that we've seen interest rates doing what, Mike?
Going up.
Yes.
Well, not really, actually.
Well, when
Sorry,
you say
guys.
that, what do you mean?
Well, we had remember like November of 2023, we had I don't know if it was a high for many years, the highest in many years.
Oh yeah, yes,
right.
Yep.
So then things started to cool off pretty much through December, and then so like January, February, March of this year, you were definitely looking at a better rate than if you had closed in the weeks leading up to that peak in November. Right. So we're rate. I don't know. What do you call that? Is that rates coming down, or is it rates being higher? I mean, they're certainly higher than they were a year ago, but they were lower than they were in months preceding.
Well, it's true that in November, actually was October 26th or something. November 2nd, we got up. No,
this is based on
October 26th was the highest interest rate we've had since like the year 2000, and that was 7. Right. So you said November. We're talking October 26th.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah. So November. That was 779. We're at 711 today. We went up 0.23. We went up almost a whole quarter point from last week's report to this week's report.
Yeah, that little jump had everything to do with the consumer price index report that came out on Wednesday. Oh, right. So by Wednesday afternoon, rates had gone. Like if you had locked in a rate on Wednesday morning, you were higher on Wednesday afternoon because of that report. But I think like if we're trying to answer the question, why did we have higher prices? All these things would indicate like lower prices, right? All these pressures, everything getting more expensive, rates, insurance, inventory being down,
is the one,
right? Like, and I think that's inventory to me is like the big hammer if you're trying to hit everything, right? It's inventory. But the only thing I can think is that maybe because rates were slightly down, maybe there was some sentiment also, people who were on the sidelines, they started maybe like they were shopping late last year and they said, wait a second, I got to pause. Right. But then January started to see some easing in the rates and then they're out. So the people who were closing in March, who were contributing to this median sales price, were probably getting into contract January and February. Right. So then maybe there was just a little bit of buyers coming out because rates eased off a little bit. And that could explain it.
We went from 799 in October, November to 6.6 basically by December. So we dropped more than a point in almost 4 weeks. Okay. And then we stayed flat for a long time. So for December until February, mid-February, we were pretty much flat around 6.6. And then we started scooting up again. We went up to 6.8, 6.88, which is about a quarter point higher. And then it went down and it started going back up. We're on an upward trend right now. I think it's been how many weeks now? 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row we've been going up. And I'm sorry, I guess we're at 7.1, Mike, not 7.11. That 0.01 really makes a difference.
Yeah, I think it was just week over week was a little bit less than a quarter point increase on Freddie's report. And part of that, like last week's report, by Thursday last week, your rate was higher. But this report is generated Thursday, and it's published on a Thursday.
It's published
so
on
that
a Thursday.
last Thursday kind of missed a little bit of what happened on Wednesday.
Yeah, so let's just, because you and I had a really good conversation in the car yesterday about this. You were saying that because the report came out on Wednesday and we got that high inflation consumer price index we weren't expecting, it didn't really have enough time to reflect for the report that came out the next day.
That's right.
For the Freddie Mac mortgage report.
And you got to think like they're doing their survey. And I don't know how, like when they stop collecting data for the report that's released on Thursday, common sense might tell you if they're releasing it on Thursday, it probably is like a Wednesday to Wednesday type report, but it could be like, they could be super like up to the minute. So maybe it's Thursday noon and then they release the report in the afternoon or something. But no matter what, there was only that one day. Basically, it was Wednesday afternoon and Thursday where rates were higher just last week, right? Where the market kind of went a little bit haywire because the consumer price index report basically established that or verified that inflation wasn't continuing its downward trend, right? Which then meant the Fed, as indicated, said we're only going to lower rates. They're talking about the Fed. We're only going to lower rates if inflation does what we want it to do. They've been very clear with that, like the whole, very clear, right? These projections are based on what we think inflation is doing. We like that it's under control. We like that it's headed towards our target. And then, of course, I'm always like, well, why would they ever? They're going to get their target. And Jim and I, we talked about this. Where they're going to get their target, why would they reverse course after that, right? But that has been the scuttlebutt, like a 3 quarter point decreases at some point by the end of the year, which may still be in the cards.
Possible.
Yeah. But it's not happening in May. Right. But who thought it was happening in May? Like we got through January, February, March. We've talked about it on the show. They're only doing it if, caveat inflation. Who thought in May rates were going to be lowered by 1/4 point?
Not many, I would think.
Right. So then what happened? So why did this news send the market into a little bit of a freak mode, right?
I think it's because the Wall Streeters have been pushing very hard for these rate drops, regardless of what's happening in the market, because that's what they do for a living, right? And then people read about it in the newspapers and on TV and everything else, and they're thinking, oh, they're going to drop. They're going to drop. They're not realizing that the people that are saying that they're expecting these drops, the prediction, are the Wall Streeters, which have a vested interest in that happening, as opposed to the Fed, who's supposed to be more neutral and trying to make sure the economy stays strong. So they're going to do whatever they feel they need to do that, regardless of what Wall Street wants. That to me is the big.
It's such a weird difference. It's a weird thing because I hear people that I respect in this industry making predictions that I can't agree with, right? I don't see how they're doing it. And then, so what, do they have some ulterior motive, or like they have hooks into what Wall Street wants to happen versus what? So I don't know. I give people the benefit of the doubt in that regard. Like, I don't think anybody is really pulling maybe there are people pulling the purse strings or pulling the, what do you call it, Johnny? The,
you mean the Rothschilds?
Yeah, the marionette, controlling the
Illuminati.
Yeah.
The Illuminati,
the Bilderbergers.
Well, yeah, the Bilderbergers.
But it could be as simple as like economic uncertainty, global economic uncertainty, means increased interest in super safe investments, which the 10-year Treasury note is one of those. And so when the Treasury yield goes up, people who want that safe investment get into the Treasury, buying the 10-year Treasury, and our rates follow that trend just as close as they do the, what the Fed is doing.
Right.
The thing is that, thank you, Tommy, for letting us know we had an echo. Ross, when you went on, I had to shut you off for the mute thing so that it happened. So Tommy, hopefully the echo went away. Thing I found very interesting about this is that, we want the interest rates, as realtor people, obviously we want the interest rates to drop also. But if you're going to drop the rates and it's going to superheat the economy for hyperinflation, who wants that, right? So
especially when we've gone through what we've gone through already,
Right.
And then let's just screw it. It's we're so far from controlling inflation. And again, anybody that out and spends on the daily, you definitely realize you're like, it's just not changing anything. The only thing is we're spending more money still.
Right. So, well, and I don't think that, the soft landing thing that they're talking about, I really thought that it might happen to that inflation. No, because that inflation report was very shocking. That consumer price index report, that kind of took the wind out of people's sails.
I don't know how shocking it was. It just feels like we're finally getting a little bit more honest about it. I feel like we've kind of been a little more wishful thinking in a way for like.
Well, I don't think so. We were at 9.1. We're using benchmarks now, so you can agree or disagree with the number, but the bottom line is we're at 9.1 according to them for inflation, and now we're at 3.8. So it has gone down. Okay,
I mean,
there has to be
like, hey,
down.
it was this, and now it's
look
this.
At gas.
That's great.
Well, look at gas. We were over $4 a gallon, and then we've been at like $3.50
over $4 a gallon
in about a year and a half. It's been about a year and a half is when we had the $4 a gallon.
I saw it yesterday above $4.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
yeah, but that's this.
Yeah, but the average right now is like $3.65.
Yeah, I'm like $3.50.
Yeah.
There's a gas station I drive by. It's got a gas station on the right, which has been there forever, and then there's a newish gas station on the left. Anybody in Royal Palm knows where I'm talking about, where they rebuilt the Publix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the murder Publix?
Yeah, they're like, geez, they're like,
wow, that's what we call it in my house.
I call it the best Publix.
We call it the murder Publix.
Yeah. Those guys are always like 60 cents difference. So the guys on the right are above $4. The guys on the left, the newer one, are below it. And I'm like, that guy who's been there forever, he just must be hating life. Because his prices he just can't compete.
There's a gas station on Indian Town Road that is at $4.69 a gallon, and there's one on PGA Boulevard. I'll never forget this, on PGA Boulevard, east of 95, on your south side. The first gas station you can get when you're getting off of 95 at PGA. That gas station, they were at $5 a gallon at one point. This is about a year and a half ago, Johnny, when everybody was complaining about the gas, and it made national news. Oh, Palm Beach County is now at $5 a gallon. I'm like, yeah, one gas station.
Right. That gas station just charges whatever he wants.
You know what I'm talking about, right? That's a crazy number. Who stops there to buy gas, and you're paying $1 a gallon or more?
If you're
more than everybody else,
you're like, I'll take
if you have to. Yeah, exactly. I've done that. I've done that.
One rib.
So we've
that radio station.
We've definitely seen inflation slow down, but I agree with you that people are still spending very strong. And as long as that continues, guys, we're never going to stamp out this inflation, to the rates that they're looking for. Now, here's what I keep looking at. Twice I've read in very wonky articles, very deep in these 5-page long articles, that the Fed might drop the rates, not because of the regular economy, but the $21 trillion of debt that we're paying interest on right now. When the interest rates go up, the United States government has to pay higher rates for that debt. They don't get out of it. They don't get like a discount rate because they're the federal government. So they have to pay what everybody else is paying. And there's talk that they might have to reduce the rates, not because of the economic conditions, but because of their high bill that they got to pay every month. So now they're almost becoming like regular consumers that are over leveraged on their credit card debt.
Yeah.
It's almost like that now. So if they start dropping those rates, well, we haven't had the effect yet, right? We haven't had any negative effects from that debt. We've been talking about it for 12 years now. And every time it's like, oh, we have $8 trillion of debt, $10 trillion of debt, $15 trillion of debt. And it never really affected our economy, right? Then after a while, people just stopped talking about it, right? Because it just never materialized that we're going to have that
never
crash.
going to pay it. So,
but we'll see. Like if everybody keeps spending really, really hard still, there's no way I think that we're going to be getting out of this as a soft landing. And this market is so messy right now. So we had the highest prices we just talked about. We set a record. The highest, if I'm not mistaken, because I can't look it on the computer right now, but the highest price we ever had was $625 for Palm Beach County.
That sounds right.
We got there twice, right? We hit there twice. And one time last year, we got to $622.5, which was very close. But now at $640, we just blasted through it, right? We just blasted through that number. Now, here's the other thing that's interesting. You figure with the higher prices that inventory would still be low, right? Because we have the higher interest rates, but the prices went up. So we figure that inventory, we always been saying inventory is low. That's why the prices are holding tight. Well, check this out. Broward County, last year this time, we had 2.7 months of inventory. Now we have 3.9 months of inventory. Okay, just so everybody on the radio knows what we're talking about, inventory means based on current sales, the rate of current sales, how long would it take to gobble up all the properties that are on the market now if new properties did not come on the market? How long would it take to gobble up everything? And right now we're at 3.9%, 3.9 months for Broward County. 6 months is an even market. 6 months of inventory means it's neither a seller's market nor a buyer market. The lower the number, the better it is for sellers. The higher number, the better it is for buyers. So we have gone up significantly from 2.7 to 3.9 in Broward County. Palm Beach County, we went from 3.2 to 4.4.
Oh.
That went up now, but that went down a little bit because February we're at 4.8. Okay. Now in St. Lucie County, we went from 2.8 months of inventory up to 4.2 months of inventory. That was a little surprising to me.
Wow.
They were as low as 0.8 months of inventory at one point, right after COVID. Now, Dade County, they were at 3.5 months of inventory. They always had a little higher inventory than the rest of the area. Now they're at 4.3. In Martin County, they were at 3.1, and now it's at 4.2. Now, that isn't just because more buyers are coming into the market. What's happening is more houses are coming onto the market. There's more new listings percentage-wise than in months past. Now, as far as sales are still very weak, okay? Palm Beach County, we had 1,200 sales this year. This month for March 2024. March 2023, we had 1,400, right? Our normal average is between 1,500 and 1,700. So to be at 1,200, we're still pretty low. Last month, we were at like 985 units sold in Palm Beach County. So that was super low. So it did increase. Yeah, it did increase significantly from last month, from February to March, but not even close to our regular averages. Broward County, we had 1,084 sales. A year ago, we had 1,271 sales. So again, we're about 200 sales short. Dade County we had 1,041 sales. A year ago, we were at 1,093. So that isn't as bad as some of the other counties. It's kind of flat. And then, of course, St. Lucie County, we had 480 sales. And last year we had 545. So even in St. Lucie County, which is our most affordable county for housing, even that is seeing slower sales. Now, St. Lucie has always been, no matter what market we've been in, St. Lucie's always been kind of strong because their price point is about 30% below where the other counties are. But even with those low prices, we're not seeing increased sales over there as much as you would expect.
Right.
So all this is just very, very interesting of what's happening in the market right now. And with the 7.1%, 7.1% interest rate recorded in Freddie Mac, buyers are very interest rate sensitive right now. So even small changes like a quarter point could be the difference of a buyer coming into the market or not coming into the market or being in the market and then pulling out and waiting.
Sure.
Have you seen that, Mike, where people are kind of coming in and coming out if they haven't found the house when they're looking and the rates change, so they take a break?
Well, I don't know if it's more, I don't think they're trying to time the market so much as just they're not finding something that works. So probably just tight from a budget perspective or tight from a qualifying perspective, and just not finding the house that checks the boxes and where the numbers make sense. So kind of the position that we advise people to be in if they're home buyers, which is you're actively, I don't want to say passive because you're actually looking and you have the tools in place and you're able to crunch numbers, but you're actively looking at the market, watching the market. You're not actively out there looking at homes, maybe, but you're making sure when the home pops up and the numbers converge, you're able to do it. So if you're kind of shopping in that way, you can really be out in front of the crowd. Like if we do get a little reprieve on rates,
right?
And if we do see prices come down a little bit because inventory is increasing, which those things, I guess the March report notwithstanding, I think those things are still kind of in the cards as far as what could happen. You really got to be positioned to be able to pull that trigger when that target presents itself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I really agree with that. I think what you should be doing in this market, if you're a buyer and you don't have a time necessity to buy, meaning that you don't have a lease that's coming up in 3 months or something like that, that you go on the search, you know your numbers, you get hooked up with a good mortgage company like Mike, right? And you go over there and you know your numbers, you set your budget, you set up a live MLS search, and then you just let it roll and you check it every day and you see if there's anything that just makes you go, wow, I want to get in my car and look.
Yeah.
And if you're not seeing that, then just hold tight. And you don't have to be out there all the time unless you're there. Like
and maybe be prepared, because sometimes like people that get the green light on the pre-approval, they're out there, like you get excited about it at that point. And then it's possible that it's just like you got to sit back and be prepared, Johnny. Like you're kind of in that position, right? Like you know where you want to land, you know what kind of home you're looking at, and you're not getting disappointed.
No,
right? That nothing's out there yet.
Yeah, and maybe there is, but it's just not quite right.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's you can't get too high, you can't get too low.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah, especially so I'm not like
you're not desperate,
poised and ready to hit pull the trigger. But if you are in that position, I understand you can get a little like
or if you got a lease that's ending at some point,
the pressure's on.
Yeah, these are the things you even like if you're in that position, Jim, you have to know at some point you're going to have to decide what your next step is. And it's possible that either finding a new place to lease or extending your existing lease is a decision that you have to make. Right. So, and those are a couple months out. Usually that decision needs to be probably at least a month lead out time before the end of your lease. So if you're in a rental right now and say your lease is ending sometime this summer or this fall, you really do need to get in position to make that decision. Right.
If the people that are trying to time this market, it gets oh, good. Tommy said that the echo's gone away. Thank God.
Okay.
I was Ross for sure. Oh, and I have to do the same thing for Mike. I got to do the same thing for Mike. Okay, back. There we go. I got it back. Okay. So the thing that I notice is like when people try to time the market to try to make it work, like the guy that called last week from the show saying, why would I want to give up my low interest rate and everything? And we were explaining that nobody's trying to convince you to sell a house you don't want to sell. It's like if it's the right time, then you should move forward. If it's not the right time for you, you should.
Oh, you're talking about the call from
last week,
last Saturday.
Show. Yeah,
kind of how we ended that show.
Yeah, but the thing I wanted to mention is I was just doing a comp for Eileen. Remember, Eileen will be a customer years later. Her mom needs to sell a condo. I was looking at we looked at that condo in 2021. And it was worth about $125,000 back then.
2021.
Now, at that time, people were telling me, what the heck are people buying houses? This is 2021. Even though the interest rates were relatively low, people were complaining that the prices were too high, right? So prices are too high. So this lady went in and bought, Eileen's mom went in and bought a house. It was worth $125 when I checked it. Now, she only bought it like a year and a half before. She asked me to check the comp, and she only paid like $117, right? Okay. So now it was worth $125 like a year later. Well, I just comped it again yesterday, and the unit is worth $190,000 today. So in 3 years, it went from 125 to 190, right? The 2021 interest rate she paid is way lower than today's interest rate. So all those people in 2021 that were saying, what the heck is she doing buying a property for? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The prices are too high. Now she looks pretty smart, right? 3 years later, she paid $117. It's worth $190. Her interest rate's way lower than what you can get on the open market right now. So, people trying to time the market, that to me, it's just a real life example. Again, she needed to buy something. She went ahead and did it because she needed a place to live. And now she's reaping the rewards for making that decision. People at the time in 2021 were telling her all the reasons why you shouldn't buy at that point because it wasn't the perfect market. Well, it might have not been the perfect market. Prices were high, but prices went a lot higher.
And it was perfect timing for her, though.
Yes.
That was most important.
Yeah.
The time was right for her.
And there's also, it's hard to use that to convince someone to buy. And I would never try to say like, hey, look what happened in the last 3 years. That's almost a guarantee of what's going to happen these next 3 years. And we can never say that with any reasonable amount of success. But what you can say, whether it's 3 years or 10 years or 12 years or 7 years or something like that, you can almost guarantee at some point in the future, the home is going to be worth more than what you paid for it today. So whether that's next year or 2 years or 7 years, it's worth less. And then, if you can wait it out and you're like, this isn't like Johnny, I always tell people, if you told me I got to buy today and sell after 2 years, I don't want to get hit with capital gains, but I'm going to be selling in 2 years. Am I going to make a profit? My answer to that is I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't think there's any way you can predict it with any level of confidence.
Nope.
But if you said I'm going to buy now at some point in the future, I don't really have any deadlines. At some point, am I going to be a sell for a profit? I mean, that's historically almost guaranteed unless you hit a valley. We've had some markets where or one that I can remember.
Sure. but every one really of those, if you hung in long enough,
sure,
right?
Yeah, you hung in long enough.
Yeah,
till to now.
That's right. That's it.
But
the people that are trying to time the market that way, your house is not that type of investment. It's not a stock investment where, you're only buying it for pure profit motive. Unless you're investing, then that's completely different. Okay.
Different scenario.
But if you're a regular person, and that's what this show is mostly based on, is consumer, from the consumer perspective.
Yeah, you're going to homestead this property.
Yeah, exactly. So don't outsmart yourself. What you should do is get yourself lined up. If you have time, that's actually a better thing. Then you just look for the one that gives you the heart pitter patter when you see it online. It's like, that's exactly what I've been looking for. Let's go out and see it. But if you don't do all the pre-work before that, and then you see that one, then you go out to look at it, and then you start the process to get ready to buy it. By the time you're done with that, the house might be gone.
And I think it's still true. So even if inventory is increasing, I think it is still true. If you hit that heart pitter patter moment, it's going to hit for someone else too.
Exactly.
Right. So there's still the properties that are appealing to you. There's probably reasons that they're appealing. I'm assuming that, it's positive attributes you're looking for, and not, Johnny, you're not looking for the roof falling in. I want that house with that, with the real fixer upper. Some people are, but that's not the majority of people. Someone else is going to have eyeballs on that home too. And it's going to look really good to them. And they're going to go out and they're going to fall in love with it just like you might. And it's not like they're going to get 10 offers, but John, it only takes one competing offer to you can miss out. So you just have to be, we say it again, you just have to be in position. You have to know your limits on your loan. You have to know the criteria you're looking for, which is as simple as location, school zones, bedrooms, bathrooms. Like, you really got to kind of get all that stuff lined up in order to, especially in this market, to find that one and be able to buy it when it presents itself.
I think in every scenario, having somebody that is great at what they do is a super, super valuable asset. But man, in this really challenging environment, you got to lean on people that are amazing at what they do. Florida Talk Real Estate is your one-stop real estate shop. You got access to pros, the whole team at floridatalkrealestate.com. Again, floridatalkrealestate.com.
Thank you, Johnny. I really appreciate that. PF had on our, I think it was our YouTube channel, he had a comment saying that there's a lot of people out there that like the high interest rates because of the savings accounts and the interest you get on your savings. And I totally agree with that. We've been saying that for years and years when the interest rates were super, super low. We were saying it was hurting a lot of seniors and other people that really relied on the savings to grow in interest to keep themselves comfortable.
The super safe investments.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of seniors got burned when those interest rates were super, super low. And another thing is, I was talking to Jimmy off air. before we started the show, and you were mentioning about, like I was saying, how smart Jimmy was when he bought his house. He just bought a new construction home. He's not going to have to worry probably about insurance issues or deferred maintenance for a very long time. God bless you, Jimmy.
Sure,
your interest rate was a little higher than you would have paid years ago, right? For sure.
Yeah.
And
but we weren't ready years ago.
Exactly.
That's-
And you also had a house where you had way cheaper insurance than if you were to buy a resale. That was another benefit. And the thing is that's great about Jimmy is that if the interest rate, not if, but when the interest rates go down, because eventually they're going to go down. How much down, we don't know. But when it goes down, Jimmy can always take advantage of that refi if he wants later. He could do that if he wants, if the numbers work, right?
Sure.
Yep.
But he's in. But I'll tell you one thing that's going to happen with Jimmy's property, because he's already bought it, is that once the interest rates do start going down, property values are going to go up.
Oh, yeah.
Even higher than these records that we're seeing right now.
Bet it.
And then Jimmy's going to get all that appreciation bump. And then he's going to have the opportunity, if he wants, to refi into that lower rate that everybody is going to be paying then. The only difference with Jimmy compared to all those other people that are then going to go in the market with the lower rate, they're going to be competing to buy properties at that point. There'll be a frenzy. The prices are going to go up, right? And they're going to have to compete just like we did back in the days with the crazy time during COVID. No inspection, no appraisal, this, and just give me the dang house, right?
Yeah.
And people are going to have to go through that. Jimmy isn't. He's going to be sitting back and watching the mess.
We're
And
gonna.
I'm going to wait. Oh, the interest rate's at that. Oh, I can save all that money. Oh, my house is worth 25% more now. Oh, what a terrible day.
And
Right?
we're not going to be having the conversation. Is it a good time to buy? It's like, when do I refinance,
Yeah.
Mike? Like
Yeah.
when do I pull the trigger on the refi?
Mhm.
Like we had that conversation,
did.
Johnny, right?
Yes, we have.
It's
I
like,
got you.
not yet. Hold.
Wait for
Yeah.
it.
Wait.
Wait for it.
I have you on speed dial, Mike, just waiting for that. We keep an eye, and that's one of the nice things about being part of the show is I get to see week by week where the
Kind
the
of where
number
we
is.
are, right?
But but we're not worried about it either, too, because that was also. This is our primary.
Yeah, your
residence,
forever
so
home.
This isn't necessarily an investment, right?
No.
But if we can take advantage of lower rates and a refi, sure, absolutely, 100%.
And
we'll do it.
that's going to happen, and he could afford what he bought. It wasn't like he was like overextended
Yeah.
and he was worried and he was counting on a refi later or something. So don't overthink things too much is, I guess, the bottom line in a market like this. If you need to do something, you need good professionals like the people in this room that are going to give you the best advice on how to handle things. And then you just do what's best for you and your family, and we just guide you that way.
G.I. Joe said
Whenever the
it
time
many
is.
years ago. I was a little kid. I used to watch cartoons. And he said, "Knowing is half the battle."
That's
I
right.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
right.
So that knowing is you're knowing your numbers, knowing your situation, and getting with the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. It can give you that half the battle.
Did you have the kung fu grip with the lifelike beard?
That's
Hell yeah.
early.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
early.
is early. Yeah,
That's
we're
early,
going more.
Jim.
We're going more cartoon era, but
Yeah. Knowing is half the
but-
battle. It's back when cartoons had to have a
little PSA.
Yeah, little PSA, public service announcement. It's like what was the Planet
Planet of the Apes?
No, the environmental guy, and what was his? But it was like in that era, right? It's like and knowing is
We
half
had all the
battle.
after
You had
school
to, you had to
specials.
learn
Yeah,
something. You
yeah.
had to learn something.
At
See,
the end of every episode, G.I. Joe would give you some little training, and
See,
then knowing is
It's
half the
part of
battle.
more
what
you
made us who
know,
we are
The
today.
more you know.
Yeah.
I feel-
Don't forget He-Man. I have the power.
He-Man did have
Why
the
can't I
power.
think of Planet Earth, Mr. Earth?
Power to make me think about going both ways.
Somebody.
Know what I'm saying, Ross?
And we got great news for Ross, by the
Got a
way.
wink.
Now they got the whole camera thing made me break out my computer, so I did the thing on Ross's condo. So I got great news. Should we do it now or
Yeah,
tease
let's
it?
go ahead because Ross is pretty sure he was right.
What was he right about?
He said he didn't even put
could do
20%
low down
down.
payment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't look up his
Right.
particulars.
Right.
Here's the good news. So remember, I told you I can tell you within 5 minutes, without any documentation whatsoever, I can tell you whether or not you can do FHA on a condo. I can tell you whether or not you can do VA on a condo, and I can tell you whether or not you can't do conventional, which would mean like it's blacklisted for some reason.
So let's just set a little foundation there because
Yeah.
people might have come in from before the break.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that people don't get is a lot of times when they're on a budget, especially, they look at what's available on the market, and the cheapest things around are usually condos. So they go, oh, great, I'm going to buy a condo. Well, that's great, but you have to understand with condos, you can't necessarily do the same financing as a single family home or a townhome where you can go as low as 3%, 3.5% down, depending on your credit and the type of loan you're using, or 0% down with VA.
Yep.
Some condo communities will not qualify for those kind of loans. That's what Mike's talking about right now.
Yeah.
And what did you find out about the great property we have in Juno Beach in 500 Lago?
This is good news for you guys. So I'll just say this: when you switch to buying a condo, and let's set up what is a condo. Condo is where the association legally is a condominium association, and that doesn't really tell you anything about the building, the structures. They could look like a townhome, Johnny, but it could be a condo community, right? They could look like it could be a 12-story apartment building, right? Condo community. It could be duplexes, like, you know,
right,
just
like
attached in some way, villas.
Yeah.
Condo community. Okay, so what makes it a condo? If you look at the legal description of the property and you see the word condo or condominium in there, it's a condo for our purposes.
Or COND.
Right? Yeah, just something you should get it, like something like that.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're buying a condo, not only do you have to and you're using financing, not only do you have to qualify as a buyer, but also the condo project or the condo community has some level of qualifications required. There's guidelines for approving the project. You approve the borrower and you approve the condo project. So those guidelines change depending on whether you're doing an FHA loan, a VA loan, conventional financing, or something non-conforming, not conventional. And so as a listing agent, as a seller of a condo, it's just as important for you as it is for the buyer to know, what can I buy? Well, you also, as a seller of a condo, you have to know what type of offers can you accept. You're not going to be able to accept a VA offer on a condo, right? If it's not approved by VA. So FHA has an approved list. VA has an approved list. Fannie has what they call Condo Project Manager, CPM, which is a database now that's available to lenders. You can't get it as a public, but you just have to know somebody who has access.
I know a guy.
Yeah, you know a guy. I do. And Fannie will tell you whether you can't do conventional financing. I forgot this one. They can tell you whether it's already approved. You can do any level of down payment on Fannie. Now, there's also a mid ground, which is like, we haven't reviewed this yet. And that's when you have to really rely on your loan expert to know if you have to do 25% down or less than 25% down, a full review or a limited review. So the good news for Ross is, number one, that project is already approved by Fannie, which means you can do any level of down payment and it will get approved. And the lender doesn't have to do a condo review. It's already approved in Fannie's list. All right. Nice. Now, it's not approved for VA. So you can't do VA financing in that condo.
Mm-hmm.
It is approved for FHA financing. There's your big news.
You could do 3.5% down over there.
You could do an FHA loan in that condo project.
So
huge for you,
So
Jim.
let's just figure this out. So if you were doing 445, right, which is the list price for the property, and you were to put 3.5% down,
yeah,
right, then let's say you use the Hometown Heroes program.
Sure.
Right.
15,
how much?
Well, okay.
How much? Yeah, it would probably be. Well, we'll figure it out. How much do you think it would be out of pocket to move into that place if you use an FHA financing and you were using the down payment assistance program? Rough numbers, not getting it to how much the taxes are for the year and everything like that.
Let me give you some numbers. I got the computer out.
It's going to be pretty amazing when you find out what you can buy this condo for.
And you could do
with what you need to pull out of pocket to get it. It's going to be pretty amazing.
You could do conventional 5% down,
mm-hmm.
right? I'm trying to think if you would do 3%. Probably not based on the price point, because the 3% conventional program has income limits. So if you're buying at that price point, you're probably not. The payment's going to be too high
mm-hmm.
for your income to be below the threshold. Okay, hold on. So I'm just going to bring up.
I love everything that Mike shared with us. That tells me, at least, as a layman just kind of listening, that is a very well run association.
Also that.
Yeah.
Also that.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a guarantee. It doesn't tell you like what's the future hold for the, are those condo dues going to remain? Do they have any long term? I think you said some of the big things they
manager.
changed.
They've already taken care of pretty much everything over there. So they're solvent.
All right.
It's all good stuff.
Ross, are you offering any concessions on this?
Okay. No, we're not offering concessions. I said that. I said that. He didn't say that. No, we're not doing that. No, we don't need to. Hey,
right.
while Mike's looking, I just wanted to give a couple shout outs while Mike's looking. Hey, Betty, thanks for checking in. Mom, thanks for checking in. AJ, the experienced appraiser.
There it is.
I got it right.
Appraisers.
Experiencedappraisers.com. If you need a great appraiser, you got to call AJ. Thank you for checking in. Joyce, Johnny's mom, thank you for checking in. Francis, thank you for coming in every week. Jay, I'll see you at 12 o'clock. I'm going to be helping his mom find that property today up at Port St. Lucie. Tommy, thank you for letting us know about our Echo. Thank you so much for that feedback. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our page. PF, thanks for checking in all the time. And thank you for your comment about interest rates, because I agree with you. People like higher interest rates as far as when it comes to savings accounts and things like that. And Mike Aarons, thank you so much for checking in again. It was great having breakfast with you a couple weeks ago. Mike, did you figure it out yet?
Yeah, so it's about, if you're buying that condo, 445 with FHA 3.5% down, with estimates on tax and insurance, the total cash is somewhere around 28,000 total cash required on the buy side of the transaction. Now, if you're doing down payment assistance, if you're doing Hometown Heroes, which should be available starting July, right? Beginning of July. That's going to be 15,000. So you're going to be coming with, 13.
So
$13,000
$13,000 gets you into a place that you own, that's yours, right? That you control. Don't have to worry about your landlord raising your rate, because you can be locked into a 30-year loan with Mike, right? With the FHA for $13,000. A lot of people pay that for first, last security or close to it.
Sure.
To get into a rental place. So really, you think about it.
If you're renting a similar unit, like what's the rent? It's probably 4 months of rent right there, right? Maybe 3 months of rent, depending on what you're renting for. Similar unit in that location, in that type of neighborhood.
Yeah, neighborhood with the amenities.
And I love that. I love the location of where that 500 Lago is. And if you want to check it out, go to our Facebook page, and we have our stuff on Facebook about this property. But what I love about it is we're a mile from the beach. We're actually not even a mile. I think it's 5,160 feet, because I checked on the map.
Yeah, you can smell it.
So I almost put in there. You can almost hear the waves, but I didn't put it in there. But the unit is a great location. And one of the things I love about that area, the restaurants in that area, Ross, all the restaurants around there are awesome. Captain Charlie's and all that stuff all around there. Have you ever eaten at Captain Charlie's?
Oh yeah. All the time. I don't go over a bridge right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to go to the bridge.
Captain Charlie's has grouper cheeks.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh
yeah.
They're coleslaw too.
Do not. Oh yeah. So
They're not called
jowls.
Oh, it's so group of jowls. I don't think I've ever had that.
Oh my goodness.
I think the good news about being open to any conventional and any FHA is you just expanded your pool of potential buyers, right? So the fact, like a lot of people, they're thinking like because of the price point, like FHA is not have many FHA borrowers, and it could be cash, it could be credit related, it could be just that it makes sense to do FHA versus conventional, and so that doesn't mean that they can't buy it at higher price points. Like they're able to get into that and still do FHA. We do it all the time.
Right.
Do it all the time. And so the fact that and we figured out in 5 minutes, you've basically doubled or more your potential buyers that can actually buy it. And so sometimes I'll see condos listed and the agents putting in, cash, conventional, FHA, VA. And I look at it, I'm like, okay, does this agent really know what they're doing? In 5 minutes, I can say, no, they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to get eyeballs on their. But are they really going to accept an FHA offer, knowing that they can't get it done? Like it absolutely cannot get done. Well, this one can, and that's a big boom
unusual.
for you guys.
It's unusual. So anybody looking for an affordable place to live, that might be a very good shot. And it's a great location, great schools, great everything over there.
Just curious, why would it's approved for everything, but why would VA?
It's just not there. Nobody's done it.
Really? Nobody's done one.
So the when it's like when it comes to FHA and VA, there is a way to get projects approved. So they do have some sort of approval process, but it's expensive and it's takes a long time. So it's like, well, who's submitting for the approval? And so if you were an enterprising member of the condo board, that might be something that you would want to pursue. Like, hey guys, it's a benefit for our homeowners to be able to sell to whoever they want, right? So why don't we get these things approved through the VA process or through the FHA? Somebody took the time to get it through the FHA process. So the answer is there's a process, it costs money and it takes time. And so who's doing it?
So until that precedent's set, it's just not, they're just like, we're not.
Yeah. And
you know, down that road.
And FHA has a full project approval. They also have a spot approval. So some people are doing FHA spot approval. So I would be able to look at, let's say I got an FHA borrower, then they have to buy a condo and I don't want their options to be limited. Well, they're still going to be limited, but if we know it's got to be FHA, then I could perhaps pursue a spot approval, meaning they're approving that individual unit, but it has to pass all the benchmarks of like a low down payment conventional. So the budget's got to be right. They have to have the proper insurance coverage. Of course, you have to have financials that are healthy, no long term deferred maintenance issues.
I have a question about that. The process of finding that out through the property management company, I'm guessing, is how you find that out usually. How cooperative are they with you trying to get that information?
I would say property management company. I think we said this last week. They notoriously have been difficult through the years, but it's gotten better. A lot of them have automated mechanisms for getting condo questionnaires filled out and supplying documents that they know lenders are going to be asking for. So things like financials and budget, answering these questionnaires. I think the sticky spot right now is the questions that Fannie and Freddie and FHA, whatever, require for deferred maintenance. And it's things like, hey, have you guys had your whatever inspection in the last 3 years? Have you had a building appraisal in the last 3 years? Is there any deferred maintenance? And is there any long-term capital expenditures that are related to maintenance? And so the property managers are basically saying, we haven't received any direction or instruction from the boards to be able to communicate this information. Because it's touchy information, right? Potential, like you answer that the wrong way and all of a sudden somebody's suing you because they didn't disclose it. And so they'll kick it back to the boards. And then the boards traditionally aren't interested in communicating with people in my position, right? Or, some sort of lender review. They're just like, they're volunteers. They just, they represent homeowner. You need the budget here. We get in the budget. I'm not answering any questions, right? So that's been a challenge. When Fannie, after the condo collapsed down in Surfside,
I would say Sunny House.
The lenders kind of tightened up on those questions, that series of questions. Like, are you paying attention to that type of stuff in your projects? And some of them aren't, or some of them are just very nervous about lawsuits. And so you're just not divulging stuff that you don't have to.
And it's funny. I've been saying that I think if there's going to be a bubble in South Florida right now, based on the current economic conditions, it's going to be the condo market because of the triple whammy they're going through. They have a regulation to make sure that their buildings are structurally sound. They got to make sure that they have the right reserves now, and they're holding them to that.
Yep.
And then they're getting banged up by the community insurance policies going up, just like regular policies going up everywhere. So those triple whammies are really affecting things. But I forgot to mention this. The condo market in Palm Beach County, prices went up like 6% year over year. So even the condo prices are going up year over year right now. Even though that I think that eventually is going to be the weaker market, there's a lot of people that are not wanting to pay the assessments to deal with all those three things I just talked about.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are trying to leave right now.
I mean, I would say that probably 50% of the quotes that we're doing are condos.
50.
I would say 50.
And that could be, that's an affordability thing, right? Like traditionally, condos are at a lower price point, although when you throw in the condo fees, which are escalating, right, because of some of the things you just mentioned, maybe it starts to even out, right? So how much lower does the price have to be to make up for whatever the condo dues are? So if the condo dues are $500 a month, well, that's a lot on a sales price comparing with something that doesn't have an HOA.
Nate's giving Mike a compliment saying, great job about checking out the condo information. And he was saying that he thinks it should be the listing agent's job to make sure they know what's going on with that before they put it on the market. I agree with you, Nate. So congrats on that.
And it's crazy if they don't. Because remember, the goal, Johnny, is you're only in contracts that can close.
That's it.
You don't want to be in a contract that can't close. Now, there's things that sometimes happen, right? You mentioned the crazy case where, there were buyers couldn't be in the room to close, right?
Yeah.
They're in another room, right? But it's crazy to me, if you're a listing agent, why wouldn't you know what types of offers you could accept?
Because they don't know what they don't know. It depends on what they're trained and how they're trained, and some people just don't know. And
part of the training is like Jim. So you guys are very thorough with this. Usually Nancy's like, "Hey, Mike, what can we do on these condos?" Well, that's an ever evolving thing. So right now you said we're waiting on some docs so we can get it to Mike so he can review, but Mike can get the answers to a lot of that right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that it's approved for Fannie means I don't need to look at any docs. It's already done.
Oh, and let me tell you, if you use an out of state, I just popped into my head.
Geez.
If you use an out of state mortgage companies, like those big international companies that say all you got to do is hit a couple of buttons in your phone and voila, you got a loan. Have fun working with those companies while you're trying to deal with this. If you're finding a condo that the listing agent isn't really up on their game, or you're not up on your game, the mortgage broker is probably not going to help you either in that case, usually.
Listen, if you're pre-approved and you're shopping condos and this type of conversation hasn't come up with you or your agent, and if you're out just looking at any condo, that should be an alarm bell for you, right? Just not like a red flag, but just an alarm bell, because what we do, if we got people who are looking at condos, we're very clear, say, listen, you're doing this type of financing. Before you even go look at a building, I don't care if you look at the pictures online, but before you go drive in your car to look at it, we have to know if it's even possible. Because if it's not possible, what are we doing? You have to just eliminate those.
Exactly.
You just have limited. I'm sorry, you cannot buy in that condo project. And sometimes it's like, yeah, absolutely, we can do it. And no, you know what? We have options now. We can do it in a better way than we had hoped. So it does take some work, and it does take somebody who knows what they're doing. But
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. What worries me, well, not worries me, but kind of it's a little scary for the unseasoned or uneducated agent out there. And like Jim said, he's giving them a bit of a pass. They don't know what they don't know. They don't even have the resources that they can lean on, like an LO that is super educated, or an insurance professional that can give them some of the caveats that might be an issue. Just connecting the dots a little bit for them through conversation. They don't have those connections to even help them through and discover what they don't know. And that's really, really sucky for the person that's latched onto that. And look, they're going to grow and learn, and that's awesome. But it's those lumps they got to take. There is a customer attached to those lumps, and that's brutal.
And there's there's a lot who do, right? Like there's a lot of professionals who have the same level of dedication to this profession, that because they want to be in contracts that close. Like it's everyone's worst nightmare if something isn't closing. And so I'm not saying it's everybody, but I can tell you, even in my office, right, or in my company, there's different levels of loan originator. Jim, in your office, there's different levels of real estate agent.
Well, we say it, you're the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm.
Yeah.
Ross, it's Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach.
Like
it's just not Brightway in general. They're not all cut from the same cloth. Juno, where you talk with Ross and his crew, we know you're good. That's the facts. When you go to Mike, the mortgage guy at the mortgage firm, look, mortgage firm is awesome. But you got to go to Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy. Keller Williams has a lot of great agents. Keller Williams Innovations in front of Florida Home Pros team. It's just another level up. Let us level you up.
There's a lot of radio hosts out there too.
There are,
there are a lot of shows that you can
radio.
tune into, but there's only one Johnny C.
That's right. Only one Johnny
C. And you can only hear him on Saturday mornings with Florida Talk Real Estate.
That's right. Yeah. And yesterday, speaking of different quality and stuff, yesterday we had our annual awards for our office at Keller Williams. Innovations, it's called, in Boynton Beach. We have about 250 agents in there. So I was very proud that our team got 2 awards yesterday for production in teams and volume in teams, like how many deals we closed and the total amount of the money that it was closed. I think we came 3rd in the office,
Nice.
roughly around there, out of the 250 agents. So
let's go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great agents that are above me, and higher production than me over there. And there's a lot of great new agents over there too, but it really does matter as to how qualified in their background and everything in order to get things done. And if you don't have that, you don't know you don't have it until you need it and you find out there's a problem. God forbid, and I'm not trying to beat up this new agent, but the agent that lost the escrow deposit because they didn't fill out a form and let us know that they needed a contingency, that they had to sell their house to buy the house that we were selling.
Right.
And it cost that buyer the escrow deposit because they didn't fill out all the forms the way that they should have filled them out. So having an experienced agent is really, really important. Mike, great information, but I want to switch over to Ross because we only got like 15 minutes left, and I wanted to make sure we talk about some insurance stuff with Ross. If you don't mind,
I guess.
Okay? I guess. A little bumped out.
Whatever.
Well, fine.
Whatever.
I'm gonna leave.
So,
Yeah, I gotta go, guys.
So-
No.
Probably a good time for bathroom break.
well, maybe not, because the CEO of the Citizens Insurance for state of Florida just came out with a quote that was a little surprising to me when they asked about the state of the insurance market in Florida for home insurance.
State of the state.
I'm very hopeful, he said. He says we're seeing some
Me
really
too.
good data, and we're
We have that in
excited about what we're seeing. Last year they dumped 275,000 properties. Citizens Insurance moved it over through depopulation to other companies.
I don't know if dumped is the right word.
Well,
that.
that's what I say.
Jeez,
I'm calling it dump.
Right. They switched them to a different carrier.
They moved them over, right? And this year they've already done 115,000 up to this year, and they expect 330 total will be going from Citizens to the private market this year. So what this is telling me, Ross, and you've been saying this because you're in the trenches every day, that this is kind of what you're seeing, right? You're starting to see that the legislative changes from 18 months ago are working.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see some more carriers open up that weren't previously accepting new business, or expanding where and what types they're willing to accept. We're seeing some decreases. We're seeing, I had one carrier that if your roof is over or under 5 years old, they just announced, hey, we're going to give you an extra discount.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So it is getting better. I think I said even in the fall that I noticed a couple rate decreases year over year.
Yes.
Homeowners wise. And then, even leading into the auto insurance market, because this affected the auto insurance market as well. You're seeing, some carriers become a little looser on the higher limits. The umbrella prices are coming down because that's all a result of lawsuits, because that's liability. And seeing the auto prices coming down, like my auto renewal, and I'm just a policy number to Progressive. They had no idea who I am.
Right.
My renewal went down by like $160.
Yeah.
Damn. Mine keep going up.
Mine too.
It's like I add a car, add a kid, and it goes up for some reason.
It's weird. It's weird. I don't know how they do it, but
You should be Paul Ross. He could do something about that.
Yeah. We think
every
we
time
got
he
it.
calls me and adds a kid in the car, it just goes up.
I'm like, dude, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And that's true. What Ross said on April 15th, there was an article in Jacksonville that said that there were 3 Florida property insurance companies announced a reduction in rates to give the homeowners some relief. So we are starting to see some changes in the insurance market. It's very long coming. I'm happy to see that we're starting to see some changes, but it's been a long time coming.
It reminds me
to
of
do this.
George W. Bush's tax rebates. Remember that?
What was
Like
that? No, what was
everyone
that
got
one?
a check,
Yeah.
right? Everyone got a check, and then something happened in the Middle East, right? The budget,
yeah.
the budget went
Yeah.
haywire, right?
Yeah. Then
It's
everything
like,
went nuts.
wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
he just gave it back.
I just bought my dishwasher. So the insurance overall, Ross, it isn't as bad as it was a year ago, let's say. for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anybody's, let's say if you're paying 5,000, I don't think you're going to renew at 4,000 or, I would say that if you're paying 5,000 now, maybe you pay 5,000 again, or, you're not paying 6 the next year. We're seeing those rate increases,
I got a 5 of my first number.
slow down a little bit.
Little wins.
Another little stat: Citizen right now is at 1.17 million policies. Right now, that's after dumping the policies we talked about just a little bit ago. So we're at 1.17. They're hoping, the goal is to get to 600,000. So let's keep that in mind as we see as things change. So that's half.
Yeah,
they're trying to cut 50% out of where we are now.
But they add policies too. So you're still writing a lot of citizens policies.
Oh yeah. So we'll see how it all goes from here.
At least the trend is good. I mean, I remember when they first passed this law and Ross was telling us about it a year and a half ago. I mean, I think you kind of, it was a light prediction that it would take a good 2 years for
18 months to 2 years
to get out of the system. And
where we're going, we're almost at 18 months since it was passed. In June, it'll be 18 months.
I'm sure somebody's tracking the amount of lawsuits.
We saw in 2020, we saw those statistics. Probably, I don't know if you were here or not, Mike, but probably, I don't know, maybe a month ago, we went over those where the overall lawsuits had gone down. The amount of money that they'd spent on defending those lawsuits had gone down significantly. So it is working.
Good news.
It is good news, yeah, because if that's like really connected, we're gonna start seeing it happen. We're seeing it happen. It's happening.
I get a lot of people who go, the government should do something about it. Okay, what should they do? Well, they got to pass something. They did. It's working.
Yeah, it just takes time. It takes a little bit of time.
It just doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, they did.
I understand why everybody's so frustrated, though. It's like it's a big jolt to you.
Yeah,
it's something that you can't control. You got to have it. Like if you own a house and you have a mortgage, you have to have it. I understand why people are upset.
But like one thing that people don't think about is that roofclaims.com bull.
Mm-hmm.
That sponsorship is paid with your premium dollars, because as your premium goes up because these companies are being sued by roofclaims.com, so as your premium goes up, that's just going to pay for that bowl game. If you think about it, right?
Well, yeah. Actually, I'm all right with that then. We need at least one more bowl game,
So hold on here 1 second.
Florida Talk Real Estate is .com, your one-stop real estate shop. I'll get you that information here, but tie a bow on a Saturday as well. But always remember when you need them on Facebook and YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate. But that .com is your access to the entire team. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Keep going, Johnny.
I saw that. Well, Johnny can't see it. I saw that Nate who was complimenting the condo stuff.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he wrote that he was also a lender. So it's
I saw that.
Yeah, appreciate that, Nate. We have to do our part in educating because we want homeowners to be successful, right? We just want happy homeowners and happy sellers. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
I wanted maybe we'll wrap up with this today. Remember, we've been talking about affordability and everything in the area, and there's been a couple of really kind of things that were just showing how strong this demand is, and it's kind of silent. But they opened up a housing lottery for rentals.
Who's they?
Fort Pierce, in the city of Fort Pierce. They were trying to open up a new community. Where rents were as low as $1,100 a month. They had 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. And how many people, let's see, there were something like 110 homes that were going to be rented or apartments, 110 apartments that they were going to be renting, okay, in this complex.
Through a lottery system.
Not
a first come, first serve.
Right. It was a lottery. And they had 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms going from $1,100 a month to like $1,500 a month or something, right? You had to earn $63,000 a year or less. They had 110 units. How many people do you think applied for that lottery?
In Fort Pierce.
In Fort
4,000.
5,000.
12,000.
Jimmy,
10.
21,000 people
Boom.
applied for the 110 affordable rental properties.
Neighbors.
That shows you how much demand is out there for stuff.
Well, I'm curious of those 21,000, like how many do you think
legit?
are already in a house? Yeah, already in a spot.
Sure.
And they're just like, man, I would
That's
be down
cheap.
to have
That looked
1,500
brand
for 3 bed.
new. Yeah.
Do they have any?
And they're just like, let me just put my name in the mix just cuz.
Do they have any
Could be.
subletting restrictions, Jim? Could you sublet?
I don't
Like
know.
you
it
win the
didn't
lottery
say
and
in
then you
here.
just then you rent it at sublet it to someone else
For
I'm
$3
sure-
grand.
Yeah, for 3
Yeah,
grand. Exactly.
This is a 3-bedroom, man. What is
Three
it,
bedroom,
1,500? What are you
brand
talking
new.
about? Yeah. I saw in like I think it was like Gardens or something. They were talking about approving some housing, and they had to make like a portion of it affordable housing, and it was like
4,400 a month or something.
well,
like that?
I think it was
It's like-
expensive, and it was
Yeah.
like out of the 200 units that they wanted to build, it was like 4.
Right.
I forget I don't know if it was that low that they were going to allocate, but it
What-
was something I was like, well,
what
that's
I
not a-
don't
that
what I
doesn't seem
don't
like a lot.
understand, and I know this is happening a lot. I don't understand why more developers aren't just building huge apartment
Affordable.
complexes. Yeah, that are affordable, because the demand there is so huge. And I just feel like that's a sweet spot. Like, even if it takes you a year or a year and a half to go from buying a piece of land to getting it ready to actually be rentable, it's pretty safe bet that year and a half, the market isn't going to change that much, that you're still going to have a ton of renters that still want to use your place. I don't think the market's going to shift on you in that process, right?
I mean, there has to be an answer to it. I'm sure it's an economic answer with something like they can either make more money doing something else, or that model is not economically sustainable.
I
For
feel
some
like I
reason.
was just having a kind of a conversation with this about somebody, maybe it was adjacent to this, and it was in this particular situation, the community or town or city or county didn't want like just apartments. That wasn't the look that
more for single family home.
right.
Yeah.
Not rental. Well,
It's just a very interesting market right now. Interest rates are high again. Prices are high. So what's that thing we say? The market's defying gravity. What goes up must go up. The
So it
interest
goes
rates
up.
are go up, and the prices are going up.
The inventory is what gets me.
The inventory is going up.
yeah.
I don't understand
Yeah,
how
that's-
inventory goes up, interest rates go up, prices go up.
Is
How
that a
does work?
function of maybe people are like, all right, I don't know what's going to happen in the next year. I've experienced a bunch of appreciation. You know what? Maybe it's my time to get out if I can.
Well, there's another article, and I couldn't find it, so I didn't want to talk about today. We'll talk about next time you come on in more detail. But there was an article talking about how something like they did a study, and something like 7 out of 10 people whose homeowners policies were dropped, the sellers just say, screw it, I'm selling the house. And they just put it on 7 out of 10 when the home insurance policies dropped.
In Florida?
In Florida.
you mean the rates went down, or the
No,
new,
the policy
new premium
says I'm not covering
maybe they're
you
being
anymore.
non-renewed.
Oh,
When
And
they
7
dump
out of 10
them.
are like,
7 out of
"Screw it,
10,
I'm just
that's
gonna
it, I'm
sell the
out.
house?"
I'm out. I was like, wow, that was kind of a surprising stat.
well, it's easy to say that. It's like saying, if somebody wins the election, I'm leaving the country. You say it.
Yeah.
You say it.
And just because your
you are.
insurance dropped you doesn't
20
mean you
years.
might, because there's some times where, maybe the policy renewed last year, right?
Mhm.
And when we shopped it at that point, that was still the best bet. And they're being non-renewed this year for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Sometimes we find them something cheaper.
Yeah.
Now because, like I said, things have opened up over the last year and a half or a year. So just because you're being dropped, hey, that might be an opportunity.
You could just pack up and move.
Or pack up and move.
Just pack up and move.
Do we have a
wonder
good
where we move
mover?
to. Well, actually,
We do.
I'll do it.
I don't know. Every
Call
time we
Ross.
have movers come on here, they haven't been worked out very well. That's why I stopped bringing the movers on. That's why I stopped bringing the movers on. That's a weird industry. Let's just put it that way.
Well said.
ROI.
I have a
Tell us
roof
ROI.
rack and a bike rack. So if you need a couple bikes
Oh, there
moved
you
and
go.
maybe some surfboards or canoe or kayak, I got you.
Nice.
That's
Jimmy,
it.
Jimmy loves a good rack.
Oh, damn right.
Hell yeah. You hear that
Or
music?
two.
That means we are officially done with our portion of a Saturday. Got the locker room. I think I saw Greek running around here. You getting ready?
Yeah. He's should be in the bullpen, ready to come on and talk some sports.
Joe
A
coming
little
on?
NBA playoffs starting up soon, and NHL playoffs. Got some Florida Panthers. They made it again. They got the
won the
number one
Atlantic.
seed. Yeah.
They had
How
to,
about that?
They had to win, and they needed the Senators to beat the Bruins, and it, boom, all came together.
All came together. So you
Yeah.
can catch all those games right here on Real Radio, all the playoff games. As a matter of fact, game one against the Tampa Bay Lightning is tomorrow with a 12 o'clock pregame and a 12:30 puck drop right here on Real Radio.
And of course, the Heaters beat the Bulls, so they get to take on the
Yeah,
Celtics.
how about
Yeah,
that
go
with
Heaters.
no Jimmy Buckets?
I knew they were going to win. 'Cause
Yeah.
Whenever the star's out, everybody goes the other way, and they're all going to lose. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday mornings. Ross Komarinetz, Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Saturday.
I will do my best.
Nice to see you as always. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And hope to
I
see
will
you next
attempt
Saturday.
to. Yeah, absolutely. All right, man.
And Jimmy D, there's Jim DePola, Florida Home Pros team at Keller Williams Innovations. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and we will definitely see you next Saturday.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Happy South Florida.
Oh, man. Timothy, as always, thanks for everything, my dude.
Have a great weekend, gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
We appreciate you being with us every Saturday. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a.com, your one-stop real estate shop. You should write it down. Know it, use it, love it, share it. When you need anything done in the world of real estate, you got to go to people that are great at what they do. That's why I push you to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We'll see you next Saturday. Enjoy the locker room. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.